Devin Haney breaks his silence. This is the first time since the Ryan Garcia fight and loss for Devin Haney, at least right now. And the first time Devin Haney has spoken out since it has been revealed that Ryan Garcia had adverse analytical findings on a recent VADA test for banned substances the day before the fight and the day of the fight. That's what I want to talk about in this video. This is not good, people. Devin Haney did a recent interview. He is finally, come out and he's done a full-on camera interview, which stay tuned to the end of the video because I have some interesting observations, we'll say. Devin Haney is speaking out, pretty quickly. The information just came out yesterday. ESPN has already interviewed him and was asking him a variety of things regarding the fight, asking him stuff like, did he notice or feel a difference fighting Ryan Garcia? Also, would he entertain a rematch? Regarding the rematch, this is what Devin Haney had to say.
Boxing marketing works. This is only going to drive more interest in a rematch between the two of you. Yeah. How interested are you in getting back in there with him again?
Honestly, I'm not too interested in it. During the build-up, we've seen a lot of interesting things from him. We've seen his character. We've seen the guy cheat. We see the type of person that he is. I don't see myself ever, getting back in the ring. But I'm a fighter. I'm speaking, right now with how I feel. But we never know what the future holds.
Hypothetically, though, what kind of assurances would you need if there was interest in doing this fight?
I don't know. We have to see down the line. But as of right now, it wouldn't be a fight that I would really entertain. Like I said, this guy showed his character. He showed that he would do anything to win, including cheat. Mm-hmm. And that's just reality. A guy that would do anything to win. This is a sport at the end of the day. Boxing is just a sport. We put our lives on the line. So he put my life in jeopardy. So now it's deeper than boxing with me. I don't even want to. I want to take this thing somewhere else now because it's like I said. He could have did some real dangerous things to me that night.
He could have did some real dangerous things to me that night. These are the words of Devin Haney in his very first, at least the first that I've seen, in-person interview where you could see his face since the Ryan Garcia loss and since Ryan Garcia failed a PED test. Now, this is most unfortunate. And the reason I'm saying it, you got to feel bad for Devin Haney. If Devin Haney got in there and risked his O against Ryan Garcia, and we'll let Ryan get his due process. But if this sticks and Ryan Garcia was using something, then you got to feel real bad for Devin Haney because at the end of the day, we don't condone cheating. I've never been about that on my channel. It's foul and there has to be some repercussions. We just recently seen fighters who have died in the ring based on injuries suffered. So you can't take any of this stuff lightly. Boxing, it's like they're not going to be satisfied until somebody's life is claimed and it's because of someone fails a PED test. And then it's going to cause, Congress or somebody else to get involved to really start scrutinizing and putting pressure on boxing to get some of these things right. The bad judging. Boxing is dirty. Boxing is cruel. Boxing is almost a hellish sport. It's like the Wild Wild West. I always talk about it. The Wild Wild West of any sport. NBA, they got governing bodies, certain rules that all the players have to follow. You have the NFL, they got their own protocols and concussion protocols. But we see in boxing, it's literally almost anything goes. Like a person can be knocked out in sparring or carry an injury into a fight, and then they're facing a dangerous puncher, and people would just let them go into combat wounded. and whatever happens, happens. We've seen teams who are very prideful and they don't want to pull their man out of there. They don't want to throw in the white towel, wave the white flag to spare their fighter, and then their fighter might not be the same. So you definitely got to feel for Devin Haney in this situation. This is an ugly situation to have, and it's a black eye for the sport of boxing. Now, on my channel, I don't play no games. I keep it real. I tell you what I see, etc. I think some people wanted, I guess, their version of how I should react, but I'm never going to give you that. I'm always going to act authentic and organically to how I feel and what I observe. And part of that stems from this particular fight. I warned you. I warned you all. If you watch Boxingego's videos, you will know that I warned you with this particular fight. Didn't know exactly, the crux of it and how everything would play out, but I warned you enough where boxing should have taken it seriously. You had Ryan Garcia, who was running around, as I said, like the Joker, as if he just escaped from Arkham Asylum. He was running around. He was posting cryptic, weird videos, acting peculiar. He was saying these things that were causing much concern for his own safety, almost for the safety of others. And you guys said, "Oh, Ego, you're tripping. Chill out. You're a boomer. It's all part of the show." And I was like I always say, you TikTok, I'm hip hop. There's a difference. I come from a generation where we move different. And there were so many things wrong with this fight that I told you it was a show. I said it was a show from the very beginning. And I never bent. I never folded. I never walked it back. And I'm still saying it now. And now you have Devin Haney, who's doing this interview with ESPN. And I got to be real with you. The statement that I've made after, this is before Ryan, it was public knowledge that he had failed a drug test with adverse finding. I told you guys that Devin Haney might not be the same fighter based on the physical damage and the punishment sustained in the fight with Ryan Garcia. This is what I said. Again, this is before I knew of a failed drug test or any kind of Ostarine or potential Nandrolone or anything in Ryan's system. Based on what I seen, you guys said, nah, Devin is cool. Devin will be all right. You're being too harsh. Now, after watching his very first interview, I feel it even more strongly. Devin Haney said that he questioned himself, his training methods, and his own team after this loss to Ryan Garcia.
I can't really say, that. I knew that it was a tough fight, obviously. I'm a special kind of fighter. So, I never fought, and a guy has been that much better than me. I never been overmatched like that, and I've been in there with the best fighters in the world. So, I felt like something was up, but I didn't want to make any excuses or be that guy. At the end of the day. So I put it in Allah's hands, and I said, you know what? He was a better man. He was a better man that night, and I'll go back to the drawing board and figure out what's next. But it definitely had me questioning a lot of things. My preparation, my trainers, my team, myself. But that's what a loss will do to you in general.
So you guys just heard it from the horse's mouth. He says that's what a loss will do in general. I question my preparation, question myself, question my team, question my trainer after taking such a nasty loss. So what Boxingego has been telling you, does it sound so far-fetched that Devin Haney could have real life implications and issues, potential PTSD from a tragic and horrific fight and a nightmarish night Like I said, they call him Devin the Dream Haney, but that night was a nightmare. And the fact that Ryan has this looming drug test fail, and I have to phrase it like that because I'm just going to play it by ear. I don't care what anyone's saying. Ryan has a due process. We'll see how it plays out and see what happens next. But I can't say too much because I don't know, because boxing is the wild, wild west, as I stated earlier in this video, where you never know what's going to truly happen. I mean, at least I don't. You know, I have been great with my predictions and giving you guys a forecast of what should happen, what's likely to happen. But, you know, I can't predict everything. So we'll have to see what plays out with Ryan Garcia. That being said, Devin Haney, I further believe what I told you immediately after the fight. Because, again, when I told you that Devin Haney might not be the same fighter, I said this without any knowledge of a failed drug test. But now if a man is on and he's on something and he's juiced and he has an unfair advantage and it's not a level playing field, then now I feel that even more. And Ryan Garcia, if this is true, this is disgusting. It's deplorable. And it's a shameful act that has no place in a gentleman's sport like boxing. And again, you got to feel for Devin Haney, but I think there are certain things, missteps and certain things that occurred that always didn't make sense to me. Like his dad saying, yeah, stand in the center of the ring and trade. Now, of course, his father and trainer and manager, Bill Haney, has no concept of what the other team is doing. He can't say that, oh, Ryan is stepping in with an unfair advantage if the test fail hadn't come up yet and proven that. I get that. However, there were certain things, at least to the eye, where it was clear as day for me to see that Ryan Garcia looked big. I don't need VADA to tell me what I'm seeing with my own two eyes. And that looked like the most massive version of Ryan Garcia that I had seen. And I made videos about it. I made the Ego Weight Watcher series. You guys watched it because it did great viewership for the pre-fight stuff before Haney Garcia. And you guys watched the videos, so I know you've seen it. And everything I said pretty much lined up with the fight. So Bill Haney telling his son to fight in the center of the ring, he too could have got his son seriously hurt just as a coach and a father, because you know how it is. You don't want to disappoint your parents. You don't want to disappoint your father. And Bill Haney really kind of sent him out there on a mission with someone who was, even if like this is really if Ryan's on something or he's clean. Ryan was always the bigger puncher. To me, Ryan always had the bigger chin and the better chin, more durable. He looks about a half inch, an inch taller than Devin Haney. He has faster hands than Devin Haney, similar reach, and he, from the eye test, looked bigger than I'd ever seen him. So all these things considered, it didn't seem like a sensible play for Devin Haney to just fight in the center of the ring and have a slugfest or dogfight. And you've seen that when Devin got clipped in the first round, coming back, dropping his hands from a left jab. You know, he dropped his right hand. And, you know, I know people keep talking about the PED thing because that's the hottest new part of this saga and the drama. But I still seen flaws in Devin Haney's game that I'm not quite sure that PEDs are the only reason that those flaws were exposed, because Ryan has always been fast, unless you think that Ryan Garcia was always on something, even when he was in the amateurs and he was fast, or when he looked much smaller and he was doing those garage videos. So he was always known for his speed, and the size also gave Devin Haney issues. Devin Haney, like I told you before the fight, he hadn't really been fighting people his age, his size, with like better speed than him, arms just about as long as him, a half inch taller, somebody with that type of power. So the other departments where Ryan Garcia lacks, styles make fights, and he was able to hurt Devin Haney multiple times. And that's why I tell you all the time on my channel, I can't give so much credit to someone showing heart. Like, of course, Devin Haney kept picking himself up. And then now if Ryan Garcia was on something, then you got to give him even more credit. But that's an extremely dangerous scenario where I still believe the towel should have been thrown in. And I believe it even more based on the punishment he was taking with Ryan failing a drug test. It just doesn't make sense for your fighter to take continued punishment just to show how tough they are. And now when I'm looking at Devin Haney in his first ever interview with ESPN, I don't know if it's just because the interview is so fresh and the news is so fresh, but he sounded kind of different to me. He sounded a little bit, I'm not going to say punchy, but he sounded more like stuttery and stammering a little bit more than there was no like, I've seen several interviews. I've interviewed Devin Haney, things like that. And again, maybe this is the emotions are high. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreading it, overlooking other things it could be. But something about his speech seemed off. And again, there's several reasons for that. Maybe this is so devastating and emotional and he just has so much pent up rage or something like that, where he's trying to answer the right way. But he sounded kind of stuttery when he was doing this interview, and it wasn't his normal chipper personality, right? The other thing that I noticed is Devin Haney looks huge, huge. You guys in the comments section, let me know how much you think Devin Haney weighs from the pictures that you've seen from the interview in this video. Just put blah, blah, blah pounds. So XXX pounds, whatever your guess is. But for me, and you know, I've been doing the Ego Weight Watchers, AKA ILL, for several years. And I'm pretty good with the eye test. He looked pretty big. And that's another thing that I think is going to be a problem outside of the beating he took and the physical damage from the Ryan Garcia fight, especially if Ryan was on something, is he looks like within 2 fights, making 140 is a chore. And that's very concerning as a student of the game in boxing. How are you this big literally 2 weeks after the fight? How are you this big when you just moved up to a new division and you look like you're rapidly ready to go in short order to the next weight class of 147? And as you keep moving up, your punching power in most of these scenarios is not going to drastically get you more knockouts. And then the guys get better, bigger, tougher, stronger themselves. So I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for Devin Haney. And I'm going to put a question mark by it because I don't try to limit. I don't know what someone's capable of. I wouldn't want someone to say ego can't do this, ego can't do that, and put limits on me. So I try my best on my channel to humanize the sport in that way and not put limits on other people. But in all fairness, being real, I definitely have questions, especially after seeing that interview. Let me know what you guys think of Devin Haney's first interview back. Maybe it was because he was shaken up because this is all fresh and new, but it really looked like his jaw was still swollen or something. Like his speech seemed off to me. His face looked huge, like Barry Bonds or something. Like his head looked huge, and it looked like maybe he still had some swelling. Let me know what your observations were, and subscribe for all things boxing to Boxingego, the best in the business, and it's not even close.